Yo, what is going on, guys, and welcome back to another video on the channel. And this will be the first episode of a series where you guys will learn Next.js, React, Prisma, and TypeScript by building a social media app clone. And this tech stack is probably one of the most powerful tech stacks of 2024 if you actually want to build something that you're going to launch on the web for others to see. It is super easy to get started. The technology is serverless, so you don't have to pay for servers and computing power. And even the MongoDB database is completely free, up to 512 megabits of storage, which for JSON data is a lot. So I hope you guys enjoy this video series, and I hope you learn a lot. And if you like this type of content, please leave a comment down below and like the video and subscribe to this channel. And without further ado, we can get straight into this video. As prerequisites for this video course, the only thing you will need is Node.js installed. Now, if you want to launch your application, you want to download Git as well and make a GitHub profile, but that's not mandatory if you only want to run this locally. But Node.js version 18.17.0 is required for this course. And if you have an older version of Node, you can download NVM, which is a Node version manager, and update your Node version to 18.17.0. And in this video series, we'll be using Next.js 14 with App Router, which is the newest version of Next.js and also the most powerful one. And in this video, we will be building the feed feature for this social media application. So basically, users can add posts to their feeds and others can review them. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. And first thing we're going to do is that we're going to open up a new terminal. Then you want to go into a folder that you want to initialize the project on. In my case, I'm going to go to EG Projected, which is my folder for these kinds of projects. And here you can just say create next app at latest, and I'm going to call my project a social media demo. Then we're going to answer these questions. There we go. Now Next.js is initializing a project. There we go. Now our Next.js application has been initialized. Then we want to open our project. There we go. Now we have initialized our project and now we can start actually developing it. So I'll go here into new terminal, and then I'm just gonna npm run dev just to launch our application quickly. There we go. Now we can just open it right here. Here we go. Now we have initialized our project and launch it here on the localhost 3000. And first thing we're gonna do, we're actually going to clean this page right here a little bit. So let's just delete all of it. Just put a div, and then we can just say h1 and hello. Save that, and there we go. We have those changes going on right there. And now the next thing we want to do is initialize Prisma and MongoDB. So we can just close our application. Then we can run npm install Prisma, and after that we can run npx Prisma init. There we go. Now we can see that we have a new folder here called Prisma. So we can just go here, and first thing we're actually going to do, we're just going to change this to MongoDB, save our file, and then we can go into our file here, .env, and then we have to change this one. And to change this to a correct MongoDB URL, we have to open our browser and go to MongoDB Atlas. If you don't already have a MongoDB account, please make one right now so we can continue. And now when we have logged into our MongoDB, we can just create a new cluster. So we'll go here to create a new project, and I will name my project a social media app. Click next, create project. Now we have to create a new deployment. We'll choose the free version. I'll choose AWS, and I'll just name my cluster social media app as well and hit create. And right now on your screen, you can choose a username and a password for your database. And make sure to save your password for later use. So I'll just hit copy and create a user. And to make things easy, I'll also go here into network access and add an IP address and allow access from anywhere and confirm. This way, it makes it easy for us to develop this application locally. And now to connect our database into our application, we can just go here and hit connect. We want to MongoDB for VS Code and copy that one right there. And now we can just go into our env file, copy and paste our database connection URL, and make sure to replace this password with the password that you received from MongoDB. Now you want to save your env file and we can close it. And now we can basically start developing our application. So I'll just close our MongoDB right there. And now we just have connected our database into our application. Now we can actually create a model for a feed post. So let's do that right now. We can just call it a model, call it a feed post, and then we can just basically give this an ID. And then we'll also put a created and updated at fields right there. And then we can also just put the description, which is going to be a string. So now we basically have a skeleton version of a feed post. So it has a description, basically some text, and then created and updated at fields, and we also have an ID in the database. So we're going to just hit save on that. And now in our page, we want to make a form where a user can add a new feed post and also view the other feed posts. So let's do that right now. And we can start by actually creating a new folder inside our source folder. And we'll call this lib. And in our lib, we will make a file called data.ts. And we will also make a file called actions.ts. And this data.ts file we will use for retrieving data from the database, and actions file will be used to input data into the database. So any create, add, or delete methods will be here on the actions file. And actually, we'll just go right here and move this lib into our app folder. So are you sure to move? Yeah, just move. And yeah, now it's in the lib folder and it's better right there. So we'll be just putting basically everything here in the app folder. And now as well, we're on the app folder and we will be creating a new folder called UI. This folder will contain any UI components. And right now we have a UI component that we want to make, and we will call this the add feed post form. And we'll just call it a .tsx file. And here we can just say that export default function, and this is going to be the form. So let's create a form. We can just return a form, and this form will have a action. We'll put that there in soon. But now we actually want to create a field for a text input where the user can input the text for the description. So let's do that right now. And making this kind of form is actually quite easy. So all we have to do, we'll just put a label here at the top. And then below it, we'll just put a text area with an ID and name of description. And we'll also make this a required field. And then we can just, here at the end, we can just put a button. And this button, it can say something like publish. And this button is going to have a type of submit. There we go. Now we can just basically save the file. And then we also need to go here into our actions and actually make the action for this add method. So here in the actions, we can just export an async function. And this function is going to be called add feed post. And inside this function, we can just put a try catch method. And if an error comes, we can just console log it. But then here in our try method, we will actually do the adding operation. Like that. And before we can actually do the adding operation, we have to run npx prisma generate. So let's run that right now. And now when that's done, we can actually npm run dev. And this add feed post method is going to be taking as a parameter the form data. And using TypeScript, this is going to be type of form data. Then we can just get the form data. So right here, we're going to get the description and we can call this as string. And after this, we can just check that if the description does not exist, we can throw an error. But if the description is fine, we can just do the Prisma operation. And before we can do any Prisma operations, we have to go here into our source folder and create a new folder. We'll call it utils. And inside this utils file, we will create a file called database.ts. And in this file, we will just be creating the Prisma client. You guys can just copy this code, but basically we're just going to use the Prisma with the schemas that we defined. And then we can just go here into our actions file, and inside our actions files, we can just await, and then prisma.feedpost.create, and then we'll just call data. So the data we want to input is basically going to be the description. And that's basically going to be it for the adding operation. Now we can go here into our form and actually import the add feed post action. There we go. Now our form's ready. And we can also now go into our page file, and then we can just replace this with some like social media feed. And under this, we can actually provide the add feed post form. So let's do that and then hit save. And then, now we can see that we get this error. And our problem is that we have to go here into our actions file and actually use server. So at the top, we can just click use server, and there we go. Now we have our description, and you can add the text there. And one thing we can do, we can just go here and say that text white, and boom, there we go. Now it looks better. And also we can go here into our data file, and let's also put here that use server. And inside our data file, we want to create methods where we can actually show the feed posts for other users. So this is going to be a async function, and we'll just call it get all feed posts. And then this function is just going to also put a try catch method, and we can just console log the error if such error comes. And here inside our try method, we can just basically say that const result is going to be equal to await prisma, not print prisma, dot feedpost dot find medi, and yeah, that's basically the function. And now we just return res as a list of feed posts. So feed post list like that. Hit save on that. Then we can go into our page, and then we can also create a new UI component, which is going to be called a feed post list. Feed post list.tsx, and now we can just export default async function, and this is going to be called the feed post list. And this is going to just return a list of those feed posts. And in order to get those feed posts, we can just go here, say feed posts is equal to await, and then get all feed posts like that. And then we can say that if there are no feed posts, we can just return null. So basically nothing, but if the feed posts exist, we can go here. We can basically loop through these feed posts and show them to the user. So now we can just return a single feed post inside a div. And this div also takes a key, which is going to be a feedpost.id. And then we can just showcase here with a p the feedpost.description. So that's going to be basically it. And let's put some styles right here as well. We can just say rounded. So it has round corners. We'll call it my2 to give some margin to it, and we also want to keep a padding of 2, and then we want to put the background to white and text to black. So like that, we can just hit save. And one more thing right here on our get all feed posts, and inside our data file, we actually want to use a no store. So basically we can just import unstable no store, and then right here we can just use a no store. And here as well on the actions, we want to, after the try catch method, we want to revalidate path, and here in our case it's going to be the home path right there. Hit save on that, and now we can actually try if this works. So Let's just refresh the page, and now we can just say something like, hi there. And then hit publish. And as you guys can see, we get a error. And the message is that the command failed, Atlas error, empty database name not allowed. So this is basically a MongoDB error. And I took a little look, and I forgot here in my env file, we actually want to provide some name for the database. So right here, we can just basically say like social media app, hit save on that. And now we actually want to restart our application when we change the env file. So just restart application. We can close our env file right there. But we of course want to render the speed post list in our page. So basically right here, we can just say that speed post list. Hit save on that. And now we should see that one right there. Yeah. And now we can also do this again. We can say like, hello there. Hit publish on that, and there we go, it changes right here immediately. So that's great. Now we have the basics of our application fully set up with database. So now we can basically just start scaling our application right here. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. And if you guys like this type of content, leave a like and comment down below what content you want to see next. Do you want to see some other applications and stuff like that? And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. But we'll be continuing this social media app in our next video with profile, user authentication, and much more. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, this is basically it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace!